Action.
Alex, are you sure we're in the right place?
Good.
I'm Wim, filmmaker by trade. I wrote, directed, and voiced some parts of my film, Congruent.
I am Lexi. I'm a model and currently learning acting. In Congruent, I play the role of Tina Lee.
Congruent is the latest story I wrote out of 5 other stories. It's long enough for maybe 2 feature films, maybe even a trilogy. It's the story of a young, beautiful, and intelligent girl born in a futuristic post-apocalyptic world where there are 2 major factions left, constantly fighting for domination of what's left. Basically, Tina Lee is a Lara Croft meets Nancy Drew meets Nikita type of person. She belongs to one of the smaller groups of survivors who oppose any form of government since there really are not many people left to govern. In the main story, Tina is approached by a trusted friend to help him figure out some kind of ancient text that would somehow help in restoring balance in the world. She does not really know the true background of her friend, and initially she ignores this request. He sends her a digital copy of the text anyway, in case she changes her mind. And a certain incident pushes Tina to look into the text where her adventure begins in the quest to find an ancient device that would potentially change everything.
Wim is my official modeling trainer and manager. And when I told him of my desire to learn acting, he asked me if I could play a certain lead role in a short film that he was going to do. An entry in a competition. I learned by doing. That's the type of person I am. And so I agreed. I have never done anything like this before, and there are green screens and blue screens, and I have to imagine things that are actually not there.
I am an in-house director and owner of a small film company here in Cebu, Philippines. The company is more inclined to creating short films from events such as weddings and birthday parties, though it was originally founded as a true film company, which is why I have a lot of stories waiting to be rewritten into scripts and shot for the big screen. Well, there was a fire back in 2009 that destroyed our studio and all our equipment with it, and it has been very difficult to try and get everything back. So when I heard about the My Road Reel competition, I thought I'd give it a shot. I took a more interesting part of the story of Congruent and wrote a short film script. It's intended specifically for the competition. It's all original, and I have given RØDE all the rights to use the short film in whatever purpose they see fit. Well, this project is personal. The company nor my partners are not involved in this project in any way. That's why all the equipment used in this production are those that I personally own. This is also one of the reasons why we're using smartphones to shoot the film. The other reason, of course, is that I've always wanted to try it. You know what they say, it's the person behind the camera and not the camera itself. Well, we do have an NTG2. It's company property, so I bought myself a smart lav just for the purpose of this short film. RØDE has always been my first choice in production microphones.
At first, I was surprised that there were no cameras. I thought, how are we going to shoot the film without a camera? Then Wim explained what we needed to do and how were we going to do it. I trust in his skills because I have seen him in action firsthand. He always knows what to do.
Well, when I design a shot, I usually think about the scene before I decide on what equipment to use. This one was quite a challenge because I had to see what I had, what I could use before I could actually design the shots. The equipment I had is so limited that I had to design the shots according to what's available. I don't have a personally owned professional lighting equipment, so I thought we'd make use of the sun. We have a house that's under construction, so I figured we'd use that location and use a bunch of green and blue screens and reflectors for lighting. Then in post, I can composite Lexi's live action shots with 3D objects into 3D sets in a free 3D software called Blender. Then I can finalize the whole thing in After Effects.
In the beginning, I was skeptical because I have never acted in front of a camera before. The dialogues make it even more challenging. Film is also quite different from photography, where everything can be retouched in Photoshop after the shoot. In film, everything has to be near perfect during the shoot itself. What makes it even more difficult is that nobody else is with us during production. Wim has to do everything. While I am preparing for my next scene, he has to rearrange the set and all that. He's the cameraman and the director at the same time. Maybe that's why he chose to use a lapel than a video mic, because no one is there to hold the boom.
Lexi, she's great. She's a natural. When I met her for the first time about a year ago, I knew she had great potential. All she really needs is someone who can teach her, guide her, and point her in the right direction. It's all that plus practice, and if she works hard, she can achieve whatever she wants in this industry. Well, I have worked with so many people in both film and photography, and I can definitely say that she's one of the most talented people I've ever worked with. She does have her tantrums, but then again, who doesn't?
When we started the project about a month ago, I thought it was going to be easy. Part of studying acting is learning from others, and Wim told me to watch of those behind the scenes footage from other movies. And then I thought, these movies have huge budgets, which is why they go through all those processes and procedures, taking all the time in the world to check out one light setup or a sound stage. I thought I was going to be shooting like one take and that's it. I was so wrong.
Originally, I was planning to do the device temple chapter, which would be somewhere near the end of the entire story. If there was a movie or a trilogy, that would be like the third film. So I actually wrote the script for that first. In the first 2 weeks, I created some 3D sets and some 3D characters and objects in Blender, only to find out that my machine couldn't handle that much load. So I had to figure something out. The main reason why I wanted to do that chapter was to show that you can actually make good movies, even when you are shooting indoors in a small studio with well-lit blue green screens or chroma screens. But when I did the math, I knew I was in trouble when my machine would render a 10-second scene for 24 hours. And this was not a realistic scene, which is the effect I was trying to sell. Plus, I only have one machine. Then I thought, well, any scene in Congruent can prove that. So I went to one of our houses in another city, which is under construction, like I said before, and thought that I could pull off one of Congruent's chapters using that location. That would significantly reduce all the 3D animation I need to do and make the deadline. So I decided to do that chapter instead, the Rescue Trap chapter. This chapter would taken about 8 to 10 minutes of on-screen time, so I had to redo some parts of it to fit it into the 5-minute max requirement.
The one we just finished shooting was easier than the original one we tried to shoot. It took a lot of time to prepare everything. It would be great if there were other people who did the set or do the measuring, the constructing of the rigs, and all that. But all this had to be done by just the two of us. I believe the first script was way better than this one, but that was way too difficult to do in the time that we had.
I believe Congruent has the potential to be a great movie on the big screen. It has good entertainment value. With the right mix of cast and crew, it could turn out to be a blockbuster. And the character of Tina Lee is a bit complicated. You would not call her a hero or heroine or a villain. She's someone who can be anything she needs to be in a given situation. She follows a set of principles left with her by her parents, especially her mother, who was a spy. Now that's a clue in itself. So, best of luck to everyone who joined 2014 My Road Reel International Short Film Competition. I'm not really expecting to win, but we did Congruent for a variety of reasons. For the most part, it was for entertainment, to entertain everyone. Thank you.